This is Chief Ebenezer, a man who made a bold decision to divorce his wife and marry his maid. But what could make a man leave the woman he once cherished for someone society often considers beneath him? What truly drives such a choice? Let's explore the truth in this compelling story. Before we begin, don't forget to like this video. And if you're new here, kindly subscribe and join us for unforgettable stories filled with lessons, love, and second chances. The sun had just risen over the glittering waters of Banana Island when Chief Ebenezer Aquaphor stepped out onto his balcony with a steaming cup of tea. The morning breeze carried the faint scent of the ocean, and from where he stood the Lagos skyline shimmered in the distance. Chief Ebenezer carried success with quiet dignity. His white caftan was plain yet spotless, and even without gold chains or flashy rings, his presence commanded respect. At 55, he had fought his way from humble beginnings in the dusty streets of Nsukka to becoming one of Nigeria's most influential real estate moguls. Yet no matter how high he climbed, humility clung to him like a second skin. But peace was something he had struggled to maintain ever since marrying Felicia. The sharp sound of heels against the marble floor broke his thoughts. Madame Felicia appeared from the hallway like a queen entering her court. She wore a flowing silk robe, her hair perfectly styled, makeup flawless, even though it was barely 7 a.m. A trail of expensive French perfume followed her every step. "Good morning," Chief greeted warmly. "Morning," she replied coldly. Not meeting his eyes, he sipped his tea. "I thought we could have breakfast together today." The chef prepared. She cut him off with a wave of her hand. "No need, I told you I don't eat that oily food the cook makes. Besides, I'm going to the spa later. I don't want to feel heavy," Chief sighed. "Felicia, I've been thinking. We have a big kitchen here, but it's been months since you cooked. Do you remember how we used to cook together when we first got married? Those were good times," she smirked. "Ebenezer, please. That was years ago when I didn't know better. Cooking in this heat with my nails? No, thank you. I am a wife, not a servant." "It's not about servitude," he replied calmly. "It's about showing care. A home-cooked meal sometimes means more than anything money can buy." Felicia laughed, her voice laced with mockery. "Care? Don't lecture me about care. You have money, don't you? Money buys care. Hire someone. Hire 10 people if you want. That's what wealthy men do." The words cut deeper than Chief cared to admit. He had always believed love lived in small acts. A meal cooked with patience, a shared laugh, a gentle touch in the evening. But Felicia dismissed such gestures as beneath her. "I don't mind hiring help," he said softly. "But humility is part of a woman's beauty." Her eyes narrowed. "So are you saying I'm not beautiful anymore?" "I'm saying beauty without humility is like perfume on a corpse. It fades quickly." Her lips parted, and for a moment the air between them tightened like a pulled bowstring. "You know what, Ebenezer?" she snapped. "If you want a village woman who sweats in the kitchen all day, maybe you should have married one." Chief turned his gaze toward the rippling water beyond the compound walls. Silence fell heavy between them. In the distance, a fishing boat bobbed on the waves as men cast their nets with steady hands. Chief envied the simplicity of that life, free from vanity, free from pride, rooted in honest work. But Felicia wasn't finished. "And let me be clear," she said sharply. "I will not lift a finger in this house except to dial my phone or open my purse. If you want things done, hire a maid, a cook, and a cleaner. In fact, get a driver for me, too. I don't want to stress myself on the road." Chief studied her carefully, searching for a trace of the warm woman he once loved. But all he saw was vanity and entitlement. "All right, dear," he said finally, his tone controlled. "I will get a maid." She smiled triumphantly, mistaking his calm for weakness. "Good, and make sure she's competent. I don't like repeating myself." He nodded and walked past her. On the surface, it looked like surrender, but deep inside, a storm was forming. This decision would mark the beginning of a change neither of them could foresee. That night, long after Felicia had fallen asleep, Chief Ebenezer sat alone in his study. The ticking of the grandfather clock echoed in the stillness. His mind drifted to his late mother, a simple village woman who had taught him that respect was the foundation of love. He remembered her words, "A marriage without respect will eat away your peace like termites devouring wood." And though he didn't realize it yet, the maid he was about to employ would challenge everything he believed about loyalty, kindness, and love. 2 weeks after that tense morning on the balcony, Chief Ebenezer's mansion was unusually quiet under the blazing Lagos sun. The gate swung open and a slim young woman walked in, clutching a faded Ghana must-go bag nearly larger than herself. Her name was Amara Wakolo. She was only 22, but the hardship of life had already aged her eyes. A simple scarf tied back her hair. Her brown skin glistened under the heat, and her clean yet worn gown spoke of the poverty she came from. Amara's journey to Lagos had been long and painful. Back in her small village in Enugu, she was the eldest daughter of a struggling palm wine tapper, whose back was bent from years of climbing trees. Her mother, Mama Nena, was bedridden with an illness that local herbs could no longer cure. Amara had not taken this job because she wanted to, but because she had no other option. Every naira she earned would go toward medicine, food, and maybe one day, hospital treatment that could save her mother's life. The security guard led her into a marble-floored living room, chilled by air conditioning that made her shiver. The vast room felt like another world compared to her mud-walled home. On one side sat Chief Ebenezer, dressed in a neatly pressed sky-blue caftan, typing on his laptop. On the other side, reclining elegantly on a leather sofa, was Madame Felicia, her nails painted gold, scrolling through her phone with a cold expression. The guard cleared his throat. "Sir, this is the new maid." Amara bowed slightly. "Good morning, sir." "Good morning, Ma." Chief looked up and smiled warmly. "Good morning, my dear. You must be Amara." "Yes, sir." Felicia barely glanced at her. "So you know how to cook, clean, and do laundry?" "Yes, Ma." "You can polish marble floors, iron silk without burning it?" "Yes, Ma." "You can also keep quiet and mind your business?" Amara hesitated, then nodded. "Yes, Ma." Felicia finally sat up, crossing her legs. "Good, start immediately. The kitchen is that way. And make sure you don't break anything. This is not your village." Chief frowned at his wife's tone but said nothing. He watched as Amara quietly placed her bag in a corner and followed the head cook to the kitchen. Something about her humility, her quiet manner, the way she answered without arrogance, caught his attention. Within hours, Amara had proven her abilities. She moved as though she had been trained all her life for this role. By noon, the massive dining area gleamed, the mahogany table polished until it shone like glass. By 2 p.m., she had prepared a rich egusi soup, its aroma drifting through the mansion. She scrubbed the silverware until it sparkled, organized the pantry without being asked, and swept the corridors with precision. The other staff began whispering about her. "That girl is like fire," the gardener said. "I've never seen someone so fast and careful at the same time." When Amara brought Chief Ebenezer his lunch, steaming pounded yam with egusi soup, he took one bite and paused. "This is perfect," he said, genuinely impressed. "Thank you, sir," she replied softly. Felicia, however, was unimpressed. She sniffed her plate and said, "It's too salty." Chief looked surprised. "It's not salty at all. Maybe not for you. I have a sensitive tongue," she replied dismissively, pushing her plate away. From then, a quiet rhythm settled in the mansion. Every morning, Amara rose before dawn, bathed quickly, and began her chores. She polished railings, washed clothes, mopped floors, and prepared breakfast before Felicia even woke up. She never complained, never raised her voice, and always greeted Chief with a polite smile. One evening, after a long day at work, Chief returned home to the smell of fresh bread and pepper soup. Amara emerged from the kitchen carrying a tray. "Welcome back, sir," she said warmly. He smiled. "Thank you, Amara. How is your mother?" Her eyes softened with gratitude. "She is still unwell, sir, but I'll send her some money next week for medicine." Chief nodded. "You're a good daughter. She's fortunate to have you." "Thank you, sir," she whispered, her eyes glistening. From the hallway, Felicia rolled her eyes. "Ebenezer, must you chat with the help as if she's your friend?" "You'll spoil her." Chief's jaw tightened, but he said nothing. In those early weeks, he began to notice the sharp contrast between his wife and the maid. Felicia had everything but lacked gratitude. Amara had nothing, yet worked as though she valued every task. Little did he know this quiet, hard-working village girl was about to unsettle both his marriage and his heart. The first cracks did not come from the mansion's walls, but from Felicia's sharp voice. "Amara!" Her tone sliced through the air. "Where is my ginger tea?" I said hot and boiling, not warm. Amara hurried from the kitchen, careful with each step, carrying a steaming cup. "I'm sorry, Ma, the kettle wasn't done." "Do you argue now?" Felicia snapped, eyes blazing. Put it down and leave before you spill it. Honestly, the village is written all over your face. Chief Ebenezer looked up from his newspaper, brows furrowed. Felicia, she's doing her best. Felicia's smile turned cold. Amara lowered her eyes, her hands trembling slightly, and stepped back. She had quickly learned that silence was her safest shield, yet the sting of her words always cut deep. By then, Amara had been in the mansion for 2 months. She had scrubbed, cooked, polished, and served with tireless dedication. Yet Felicia's words had never softened. The next morning, Amara rose at 4:30 a.m. She tied her scarf, washed her face in the servants' quarters, whispered a prayer for her mother, and entered the kitchen. She prepared a kamu smooth as silk, a kara golden and crisp, and Chief's tea just the way he liked it. By 6 a.m., the house hummed with the sound of generators and the distant roll of the ocean. At 7, Felicia swept into the room, a storm in satin. "My silk dress," she said without greeting. "I told you to steam it." "It's ready, Ma," Amara replied, leading her to the dressing room. The gown hung flawless on the rack, creases erased, hem perfect. Felicia snatched it down, inspected it, and sighed dramatically. "Is your idea of ready the same in Enugu? Look at this." She pointed at an invisible mark. "There's a shadow of a line here." "Start again," Amara swallowed. "Yes, Ma." Chief passed by the doorway and paused. "Felicia, it looks fine." "It's not perfect," she insisted, lifting her chin. "In this house, we don't do fine." Her gaze cut back to Amara. "And keep your eyes down when I speak to you. Do I look like your mate?" "No, Ma," Amara whispered. By midday, the household staff already knew the weather would bring a storm. The gardener stayed outside longer than usual. The cook chopped onions twice, more to keep busy than out of need. Only Chief moved through the rooms with calm purpose, as though his quiet might settle the unease. It didn't. At lunch, Felicia pushed her plate away after a single bite. Too oily. Chief tasted the same bunga soup and nodded. "It's excellent." "Thank you, Amara." Her eyes softened. "Thank you, sir." Felicia caught the exchange and froze it with a smile. "Of course you'd say so. If she cooked it, it must be perfect. Tell me, Ebenezer, does the soup taste better when the cook smiles at you?" The silence was heavy. Amara's cheeks flushed as she lowered her head. "Enough," Chief said evenly. "Don't be insulting." "Insulting?" Felicia laughed, sharp and bright. "I'm just asking questions. People are talking. You should hear what the driver said." "Felicia," Chief warned, his tone steady, "we will not slander staff in this house." Her eyes glittered. "Oh, so now you protect her from me." That evening, the storm grew into hail. Felicia called Amara 3 times in 2 minutes. Water, shawl, charger. When Amara finally came with the charger, Felicia snatched it, the cord snapping against Amara's knuckles. "What took you so long?" "I was turning off the oven, Ma." "Did I ask for your excuse?" "Next time, run." "Yes, Ma." "Good. Now take off those plates and wash them again." I smelled soap. "They were rinsed twice, Ma." Felicia's smile was sweet, edged with steel. "Then rinse them thrice. Or is counting too difficult for village hands?" Amara was at the sink when a glass slipped and shattered across the floor. The kitchen went still. Felicia appeared at the door, drawn by the crash. "Oh, wonderful. Breaking the dinner set now." "That glass is Bakar. Do you even know what that means?" "It costs more than your father's palm wine tree." "I'm sorry, Ma," Amara whispered, bending to gather the shards. Chief stepped in. "Felicia, enough. It was an accident." "You always say that," she snapped. "One day you'll realize accidents are expensive." That night, Amara cried softly into her pillow. The cook knocked once on the servants' corridor, leaving a small plate of rice at her door. "Eat, eh?" he said gently.
"You worked too hard today." "Thank you," she murmured, sitting on the floor to eat.
The rice tasted like someone remembered her humanity. The following days found new ways to wound. A necklace went missing, a thin gold chain Felicia swore she had left on her vanity. She gathered the staff pacing before them like a prosecutor. "Since I placed it there, I haven't touched it. So which of you thought you could take Felicia Okapor's chain and wear it to your boyfriend?" No one spoke, Amara. Felicia purred, turning. "You cleaned the room yesterday, didn't you?" "Yes, Ma. And today?" "Yes, Ma." Felicia stepped closer, her perfume thick in the air. "Then if I don't find it, I will assume you took it. Do you understand?" Amara's voice trembled. "I did not touch it, Ma. We shall see." Chief entered midway, reading the tension. "I bought you a new chain last month, Felicia. Perhaps it's with the others. You think I can't count?" She snapped. She tore through drawers until the chain appeared, neatly coiled in a pouch exactly where it belonged. She did not apologize. Next time, arrange them properly, she told Amara, as though truth could be bent. Later, Chief found Amara scrubbing the railings with unnecessary focus. "Are you all right?" he asked gently. She nodded too quickly. "Yes, sir," he lowered his voice. "If it's ever too much, tell me." Tears welled, but she forced them back. "I will manage, sir." Felicia's punishments grew more inventive. She sent Amara up and down the mansion's 3 floors for a scarf she wasn't wearing. She made her mop again because a leaf had drifted in. She returned meals for being 2 degrees off her idea of hot. She demanded the silver be polished twice a day, so the house can reflect my standard. In the quiet between tasks, Amara thought of her mother, of the cough rattling like empty tins, of the prayers whispered over a cheap radio, of the vow she once made, "I will not waste this chance. I will fight with gentleness." That vow steadied her, but gentleness offered no shield against humiliation. On a Friday evening, the sky turned the color of bruised mango. Chief was delayed at a board meeting. Felicia dressed for dinner with friends. Lips painted a dangerous red. She demanded dinner at 6 sharp. At 6:05, Amara carried in a tray, grilled fish, plantain, salad arranged with care. 5 minutes, Felicia said coolly, not looking up. "I'm sorry, Ma." The plate flew. It smashed against the wall, food sliding down like something wounded. Felicia rose slowly, her movements deliberate. "When I say 6, I mean 6. Time is not elastic just because you are poor." Her eyes narrowed with practiced satisfaction. "You know what? I'm tired of repeating myself. Perhaps a lesson will help you learn." Amara stood still, dish towel pressed to her chest. "Ma," Felicia's smile curved, cold and small. "Follow me." She led Amara through the corridor, past the chandelier, into the garden heavy with hibiscus. At the corner, the kennels waited. The dogs watched calmly from the far end. Felicia's heels struck against the tiles as she unlocked the largest cage. "Since you cannot keep time, you will learn how to wait. Sit inside," Amara blinked. "Ma, please." Felicia's tone brightened, almost cheerful. 1 hour. No food, no water. If you move, you're fired. The air stilled. A car horn sounded faintly at the gate. Amara looked at the cage, the bars, the concrete floor, the stale smell of dust. Her dignity quivered. She thought of her job, her mother, the medicine due next week. Then she stepped inside, the door clanged shut. Felicia slipped the key into her clutch and checked her reflection on her phone. "Good. Be early next time." She walked away, her heels swallowed by the garden's silence. Amara drew her knees to her chest as the evening cooled. The sea murmured in the distance. She bit her lip and refused to cry. At exactly 6:45, Chief Ebenezer's SUV entered the compound. He stepped out, loosening his tie, carrying the day's fatigue. He took 2 steps toward the veranda, then froze. Something was wrong. In the kennel sat a small figure, scarf, hands folded around shivering knees. "Amara." His voice cracked the quiet. Her head lifted, and the calm inside him snapped like a rope cut clean through. The garden glowed in the golden evening light, hibiscus shadows falling soft across the walkway. But for Chief Ebenezer, nothing about what he saw was soft. In the corner of the compound, inside a cage meant for 2 German shepherds, sat Amara. Her knees were pulled tightly to her chest, her scarf slipping to reveal strands of hair tangled with dust. When her brown eyes lifted, he saw not only humiliation, but also a quiet, painful resignation. He dropped his briefcase and strode across the lawn. "Amara, what is this? Who put you here?" Before she could speak, the click of heels echoed. Felicia emerged from the veranda, dressed in a fitted black gown, her makeup flawless, a gold clutch in hand. She looked as though she were headed to a gala, not the cause of the shame before them. "Oh, you're back early," she said casually, glancing at her husband as though nothing was wrong. "Felicia." Chief's voice was low, controlled but sharp. "Why is Amara locked in a dog cage?" Felicia's painted lips curved into a slow smile. "Ask her. Maybe she'll explain why she thinks serving my food 5 minutes late is acceptable." Ebenezer's eyes darkened. "You mean you locked her in here over 5 minutes?" Felicia shrugged, her tone light. 5 minutes today, 10 tomorrow, an hour next week. You know how these village girls are. They only learn through lessons." Chief stepped closer, towering over her. "This isn't a lesson. It's humiliation. You locked a young woman in a cage meant for animals. Do you even hear yourself? Felicia's eyes glittered with false innocence. She's just a maid, Ebenezer. Don't act as though you've never disciplined staff before. His hands clenched at his sides. Discipline is one thing. Dehumanizing someone is another. Felicia's voice hardened. Oh, so now you're her savior. Should I be worried about how protective you've become of my maid? Amara flinched at her words. Chief glanced back at the young woman, still curled in the cage. Her thin gown was wrinkled, her hands trembling from the night chill. Without hesitation, he pulled the keys from Felicia's clutch. Give that back, she snapped, stepping forward. He ignored her, kneeling to unlock the cage. The door creaked open. He held out his hand. Come, my dear. You're safe now. Amara hesitated, glancing at Felicia. That's an order, Chief said gently. Slowly, she placed her cold, calloused hand in his. As she stood, he noticed faint red marks on her arms from leaning against the bars. Go inside, he instructed. Get some water. Eat something. She nodded quickly and hurried toward the servants' quarters. Her steps light but urgent, the way one flees from a place where dignity has been stripped away. Chief turned back to Felicia, his voice a low growl. Do you even realize what you've done? You crossed a line that can't be uncrossed. Felicia lifted her chin. Stop acting like you married a monster. She's just a maid. I pay her, don't I? She should be grateful she's even here. Chief stared at her, disbelief and disappointment heavy in his chest. Grateful for what? For being treated worse than the dust in this house? She's not family, Ebenezer. Why do you care so much? He shook his head slowly, almost speaking to himself. Because I'm human. Because I know what it means to be poor and powerless. Because when I see her, I remember my own mother scrubbing floors after my father died. And because I will not allow my home to become a place where cruelty is normal. Felicia rolled her eyes. So dramatic. You've always been too soft. Soft? His voice rose for the first time. No, Felicia. This isn't softness. It's decency. Something you seem to have forgotten long ago. They stared at each other, the gap between them wider than ever. Felicia's eyes burned with defiance, while Chief's carried both exhaustion and an unshakable resolve. Finally, he turned away. I can't talk to you right now, not without saying something I'll regret. He walked into the house, the weight of the scene pressing on him. In his study, he sat in silence, but the image of Amara inside that cage refused to leave his mind. Was this truly the woman he had chosen as his wife? Someone who could watch suffering and feel nothing? That night, while the mansion slept, Chief lay awake. Felicia rested peacefully beside him, untouched by guilt. But every time he closed his eyes, he saw Amara's tear-streaked face, her body folded into itself like a wounded bird. For the first time since their wedding, he wondered if marrying Felicia had been the greatest mistake of his life. Morning came, but for Chief Ebenezer it brought no peace. The memory of the cage, of Felicia's cold expression, replayed in his mind like a film he could not escape. While Felicia slept beside him, he lay awake in the dark, staring at the ceiling. Each tick of the clock pushed him closer to a decision he had delayed for years. By sunrise, his mind was settled. At 7 a.m., he rose quietly and went to his study. The hum of the air conditioner filled the room as he dialed a number saved only for urgent matters. Barrister Uche. Chief, good morning. The lawyer's warm voice came through the line. Good morning. Uche, Chief replied, his tone heavy but firm. I need you at the house today. A pause. Is everything all right? No, Chief answered flatly. Bring the papers. Which papers, sir? The divorce papers. Silence followed, then the lawyer's cautious response. I'll be there in an hour. By 9 a.m., the living room was filled with a tense stillness. Morning light streamed through tall windows, reflecting on the marble floor. Felicia sat elegantly on the sofa, sipping cappuccino in her silk robe, detached from reality. Chief entered with Barrister Uche, who held a brown envelope. Felicia glanced up, curiosity flashing. What's this? Another property deal? Chief didn't sit. His calm voice carried a firm edge. No, Felicia. This is for freedom. Her smile vanished. What do you mean? Divorce, Chief said simply. The cup froze halfway to her lips. You're joking. I don't joke with my peace, he replied. And I have none left with you. Her eyes narrowed. Ebenezer, you can't be serious. Over a maid? You'd end our marriage because of her? I'm ending it because of you, Chief said, his voice rising. Because you have no compassion. Because you treat people as if they are beneath you. Because you locked a human being in a dog cage without remorse. Felicia set her cup down sharply. You're exaggerating. She's paid to serve. If she can't follow instructions? Chief cut in. To strip her of dignity? To degrade her? Felicia, I was born into nothing. I know poverty and powerlessness. I swore I'd never use my position to crush others. Yet I've watched my wife do just that. Her voice dripped with mockery. So now you're the savior of helpless girls? Tell me, Ebenezer, should I believe you haven't been enjoying her company more than necessary? The accusation stung, but Chief's face stayed firm. If I admire her, it's because she has what you lost long ago. Humility, respect, and a heart. Felicia laughed bitterly. Humility doesn't buy mansions. Respect doesn't pay for designer clothes. You married me because I fit your world. I married you, Chief said slowly, because I thought you had a good heart. I was wrong. She stood, her robe flowing like armor. You think you can discard me after all these years? After everything I've given you? What you've given me, Chief replied, is noise where I needed peace, pride where I needed partnership, and shame in the way you treat others. I can't live with that anymore. Her eyes blazed. If you file for divorce, I'll ruin you in the media. I'll say you left me for the maid. Enough! Chief's voice thundered through the room. You've already ruined yourself. Say what you like. My peace is worth more than public opinion. Barrister Uche opened the envelope, placing the papers on the glass table. Madam Felicia, these are the terms. Chief has offered a settlement. Felicia grabbed the papers and flipped through them. You think this will satisfy me? I can take more than this. Take what you want, Chief said coldly. Just leave my house and my life. She stared at him, realization sinking in. This time he wouldn't bend. The marriage was truly finished. Pride kept her from begging. Instead, she lifted her chin. Fine, but don't come crawling back when you realize your mistake. The only mistake, Chief replied steadily, was letting it go on this long. Snatching her phone, she stormed out, the sharp echo of her heels like nails sealing a coffin. Chief stood silently long after the door slammed. The mansion's quiet now felt heavy, yet strangely peaceful. For the first time in years, he felt the weight lift. Still, beneath the relief, he knew the woman he had just freed himself from was once central to his life. Now only a faint memory remained. From down the corridor came light footsteps, Amara's moving quietly as she worked. The sound felt more like home than Felicia's presence had in years. 6 months later, the mansion had transformed. The constant arguments and sharp words were gone. In their place were soft hums from the kitchen, the gentle clink of dishes and the rhythmic sweep of brooms across marble floors. Chief noticed it most in the mornings. The dining table was always set, napkins folded neatly, the aroma of freshly baked bread filling the air. Amara was there, scarf tied simply, her warm brown eyes greeting him. Good morning, sir. Such small gestures touched him more than he cared to admit. At first, his gratitude was practical. She was efficient and dependable. But over time, it grew deeper, shaped by her quiet strength and dignity despite hardship. One Saturday, he returned from a meeting to find her in the garden, kneeling in the flower beds with bare hands. Sunlight caught her hair, making her seem almost otherworldly. You shouldn't do this without gloves, he said. She looked up, startled but smiling. It's fine, sir. Gloves slow me down. You work too hard, he said, half admiring, half concerned. Her smile softened. Work keeps me from worrying about my mother. His chest tightened. He had heard of her mother's illness, the sleepless nights, the money Amara sent home without fail. The contrast to Felicia struck him sharply. One who dismissed work as beneath her and another who gave everything for others. That night, as he sat in his study, a thought crept in uninvited. What if? What if it wasn't wrong to see her as more than an employee? What if love didn't always arrive in gowns and heels, but in bare hands and a heart that knew sacrifice? Yet hesitation followed. She was young and he was her employer. Would pursuing anything more be selfish? Would people say he had replaced his wife with the maid? Still, the feeling lingered in the way his eyes sought her, in her laughter from the kitchen, in his growing desire to know her dreams beyond her duties. One evening after dinner, he spoke unexpectedly. You've changed this house, Amara. She looked up from clearing plates. Me, sir, how? You've filled it with peace, respect, and warmth. She blinked, unsure how to respond. I only do what I can, sir. He smiled faintly. Sometimes doing what you can is more than enough. When she left, he sat staring at the doorway, feeling something he hadn't in years. Hope. And though he wasn't ready to name it, deep down he knew this was the beginning of something he could never walk away from. The sky above Lagos was brushed with shades of gold and rose as the sun slowly descended toward the horizon. The mansion's garden glowed under the fading light, its hibiscus flowers swaying softly in the breeze. Among the very plants Amara had cared for with her own hands, Chief Ebenezer stood waiting. He wore a plain white caftan, but the velvet box in his palm seemed heavier than all the wealth he had ever held. Amara approached, unaware of what was about to happen. She wore a modest cream gown, her scarf neatly tied and her hand still carrying the faint scent of fresh bread from the kitchen. "You asked for me, sir?" she said, stopping a short distance away. "Yes," Chief replied, his voice gentler than usual. He gestured for her to join him under the shade of the old almond tree. For a moment, he simply looked at her, at the strength in her eyes, the humility in her stance, and the quiet grace that seemed to brighten every place she entered. "Amara," he began, "when you first came here, you were only a maid in my household. You worked tirelessly, never complained even when life was hard. But over time, I saw more than your duties. I saw your heart, a heart full of kindness, loyalty, and compassion." Her eyes widened slightly, but she stayed silent, listening. "You brought peace into this house," he continued. "After years of noise and pride, you gave me calm, and in that you healed me." Amara's throat tightened. "Sir," Chief smiled faintly as he opened the velvet box, revealing a delicate gold ring with a single diamond catching the last rays of sunlight. "I have thought about this for months," he said. "Love does not always come as we expect. Sometimes it is quiet, steady, and standing right before us. Amara, Nana, will you marry me?" For a moment she could only stare, her thoughts racing. "Sir, I am just a maid." "No," he interrupted gently. "You are not just anything. You are the woman I want to share my life with. Being a maid was your job. Being my wife will be your honor if you'll accept." Her hands trembled as she covered her mouth, tears filling her eyes. "Yes. Yes, sir. I will." Chief's smile grew wide, warm, and full of relief. He slipped the ring onto her finger, and for the first time in years, laughter filled the mansion's garden, blending with the evening wind. 2 months later, their wedding was simple yet elegant, just as Amara wanted. There were no glittering chandeliers or imported roses. Instead, the hall was decorated with fresh flowers from local markets, white drapes that swayed gently, and the soft fragrance of palm wine in the air. At the altar, Chief stood tall in a navy agbada, his eyes never leaving Amara as she walked toward him in a lace gown. She carried herself with quiet dignity, the same quality that had first captured his attention. When they exchanged vows, Chief's voice was steady. "I promise to love you, protect you, and respect you, not for what you do, but for who you are." Amara's reply trembled with emotion. "And I promise to stand with you in peace and in storms, to keep our home kind and to love you with all my heart." The applause was loud, but their shared smile spoke louder still. A week later, Chief fulfilled another promise, one he had made to himself when he learned of Amara's mother's illness. He arranged for Mama Nena to travel abroad for proper treatment. Amara, now his wife, went with her. For months, the woman who had once been bedridden received the best medical care. When they returned, Mama Nena was walking unaided, her laughter echoing through the mansion's halls. Holding Chief's hands with tears streaming, she said, "You didn't only marry my daughter, you saved me." Chief smiled softly. "She saved me first." The mansion was no longer just a house. It had become a true home. The staff worked in harmony, laughter filled the air, and the shadows of Felicia's cruelty had been replaced with Amara's warmth. In the evenings, Chief and Amara often sat in the garden, sharing childhood memories and dreams of the future. One night, as they watched the city lights beyond the compound walls, Amara leaned her head on his shoulder. "You've given me more than I ever dreamed," she whispered. He kissed her forehead. "And you've given me what money could never buy, peace, Amara." Chief Ebenezer's journey had been long and marked with hardship, but in choosing humility over pride, kindness over cruelty, and love over appearances, he had found not only a partner but also a purpose. And in the calm of their new life, they both knew this was only the beginning. True love is built on character, not wealth or beauty. Riches mean little without kindness, Pride divides, but humility heals. Respect for others, no matter their place, brings peace into a home. In the end, compassion, loyalty, and humility shine brighter than arrogance, turning ordinary lives into priceless treasures. We hope you enjoyed this story. Share your thoughts in the comments and let us know what lesson you took from it. Another inspiring story is coming soon, so don't forget to subscribe and turn on your notifications. And please like and share this video with your family and friends. Thank you for watching.